In the heart of California, a grand vision once took hold. A dream of bullet trains soaring across the landscape, connecting bustling cities with unprecedented speed and efficiency. It was to be a symbol of progress, a testament to American ambition, mirroring the great rail networks of Europe and Asia. For many, it represented a future where the Golden State led the way in sustainable, high-tech transportation. It promised to reshape how millions lived, worked, and traveled across California, igniting hope for a new era. In 2008, California voters embraced this vision, approving Proposition 1A. It was a clear mandate, a commitment to build a high-speed rail system spanning hundreds of miles. The project had a clear budget, a projected timeline, and a fervent belief that it would transform the state's infrastructure for generations. This wasn't merely a transport project, it was an investment in California's future, backed by the people themselves. The stakes were immensely high, and the optimism was palpable. The initial plan was ambitious: connect San Francisco to Los Angeles and Anaheim, a staggering 800 miles of track. The price tag, estimated at the time, was $33 billion. The completion target? A confident 2020. This was the blueprint for success, a clear path forward defined by engineering prowess and political will. It was meant to be a modern marvel, a jewel in America's infrastructure crown. No one could have predicted the catastrophic unraveling that lay ahead. But the dream quickly encountered its first, formidable adversary: politics. Almost immediately, the ambitious plan became a battleground for competing interests. Route changes, station additions, and endless debates over where the tracks would run began to plague the project. Every decision, every compromise, introduced delays and complexities. The initial, clear vision started to blur, hijacked by local pressures and Sacramento's shifting priorities, undermining the very foundation of the undertaking. Funding, once seemingly secure, turned into a precarious dance. Federal grants materialized, then evaporated. State bonds were issued, but private investment, crucial to the original financial model, never fully materialized. The project became increasingly reliant on a patchwork of public funds, each new allocation tied to specific, often contradictory, conditions. The financial foundation, initially robust, began to crack under the strain of uncertainty and political expediency, jeopardizing future progress. Perhaps the most brutal challenge lay hidden in plain sight: the land. Building an 800-mile rail line requires vast stretches of private property. The project needed to acquire thousands of parcels, often from families and businesses rooted in California for generations. This wasn't merely a bureaucratic process, it was a deeply personal, often traumatic, experience for those forced to relinquish their homes and livelihoods through eminent domain. The legal battles were immediate and fierce, creating unprecedented delays. The human cost of these land acquisition battles was immense. Farmers watched ancestral lands targeted, small businesses faced uncertain futures. Each legal challenge, each displaced family, added not just to the project's delay but also to its public relations nightmare. The goodwill generated by Proposition 1A eroded rapidly as the project, designed to serve the people, began to feel like it was trampling over them. The very heart of California was being cleaved, leaving deep wounds that persist to this day. Beyond property rights, the project collided head-on with California's rigorous environmental protections. Lawsuits proliferated, challenging everything from impacts on endangered species to the disruption of vital wetlands. Each suit, each required environmental review, stalled progress for months, sometimes years. The project found itself entangled in a bureaucratic and legal labyrinth, constantly re-evaluating routes, redesigning sections, and fighting battles on multiple fronts. The delicate balance of ecology and progress proved immensely difficult to navigate. At the core of these mounting crises was a fundamental breakdown in project management. The California High-Speed Rail Authority, tasked with overseeing this monumental endeavor, faced consistent criticism for inexperienced leadership, a revolving door of executives, and a severe lack of accountability. Decisions were made and unmade, cost estimates fluctuated wildly, and internal conflicts plagued the project's direction. A clear, cohesive strategy became elusive, replaced by reactive measures and a pervasive sense of disarray. The consequences of these systemic failures were stark and numerical. The initial $33 billion budget was rapidly rendered obsolete. With every delay, every design change, every legal challenge, the costs soared. What began as an ambitious but finite investment morphed into an ever-expanding black hole for taxpayer money. The public watched in disbelief as billions vanished, yet the promised high-speed rail remained a distant, flickering mirage. The financial reality became increasingly grim. By 2019, with the 2020 completion date an impossible fantasy, the project's scope was dramatically scaled back. Instead of connecting the major metropolitan hubs, the focus shifted to a 171-mile segment in the Central Valley, between Merced and Bakersfield. Critics quickly dubbed it the train to nowhere, a lonely stretch of track disconnected from the very cities it was meant to serve. The grand vision had been reduced to an isolated, operational fragment, a stark symbol of diminished ambition. The actual construction process itself was plagued by dysfunction. Contractors, grappling with constantly changing designs, inaccessible land, and unforeseen geological challenges, found themselves locked in disputes with the High-Speed Rail Authority. Lawsuits between the authority and its own builders became commonplace, further delaying work and draining funds. What should have been a seamless construction effort became a fragmented, contentious battleground, mired in contractual disagreements and finger-pointing. As the delays mounted and the costs ballooned, public support for the project plummeted. The initial enthusiasm of 2008 gave way to widespread cynicism and frustration. The California high-speed rail, once a source of pride, became a symbol of government mismanagement and broken promises. Taxpayers, witnessing billions spent with little tangible progress, lost faith in the authority's ability to deliver, and their trust in the ambitious vision evaporated entirely. The project became a cautionary tale, rather than an inspiration. Today, the reality is stark. Over $25 billion have been spent, yet the full high-speed rail network connecting California's major cities remains a distant, perhaps unattainable, dream. This staggering figure represents not just money, but lost opportunity, deferred maintenance for existing infrastructure, and a profound failure of public investment. The project continues to consume resources, with no clear end in sight or a definitive path to its original grand vision. It stands as a monument to unchecked spending. The story of California high-speed rail is a textbook case of megaproject governance breakdown. It reveals how political interference, without clear boundaries, can derail even the most promising initiatives. It highlights the devastating impact of inadequate management, where accountability is scarce and vision is compromised. And it underscores the critical need for robust processes in land acquisition and environmental compliance. Without these, even the noblest ambitions are destined for collapse. The system itself failed. California's high-speed rail project offers invaluable, albeit painful, lessons for the entire nation. It's a cautionary tale about the perils of unchecked ambition clashing with political reality, financial imprudence, and operational incompetence. For any future megaprojects, whether rail, bridges, or energy grids, the lessons are clear: robust governance, transparent accountability, and an unwavering commitment to the original scope are not merely ideals, but absolute necessities. The stakes are too high for anything less. What lies ahead for California high-speed rail remains uncertain. The vision of a truly connected, modern California, once so vivid, has been eclipsed by the reality of delays, cost overruns, and a deeply fractured project. While work continues on the Central Valley segment, the promise made to voters in 2008, a fully operational high-speed link between the state's economic powerhouses by 2020, is a dream shattered. The question now isn't if it will be built, but what will actually be delivered, and at what ultimate, unimaginable cost. The true cost of the California high-speed rail project extends far beyond the billions of dollars spent. It's the erosion of public trust, the squandered opportunity for genuine infrastructure development, and the profound disappointment of a vision that could have transformed a state. It stands as a stark reminder that even the most innovative and vital infrastructure projects can collapse under the weight of poor governance and political disarray. The dream of high-speed rail in California became America's biggest construction disaster. And the ride is far from over.